Welcome to the University of Dundee Master of Education webinar. My name is Helen Spiropoulos and I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global. And joining me this evening, all the way from the UK, is Dr. Marie. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Good evening. Good evening to everybody listening to the presentation tonight.
And I must say this is our final presentation of the year, so I'm very pleased to see that we do have quite a few applicants that are with us this evening. I can see there are some all the way from Africa as well, which is fantastic. And how we are going to conduct the webinar this evening is I'm just going to briefly introduce you to Stafford and what we do. Then I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's going to take you through the program. And towards the end of the presentation, I am going to open up the question box. So if you look on your right-hand side of your screen, you'll be able to see a little grey box where you can type out any questions that you may have for Marie or for myself. And what I am going to be doing though is I'm going to be grouping these questions together, because a lot of the time these questions are similar if not identical. So I am going to be grouping them together. So please do listen out for the question and that all important answer. Okay, so let's get started. Who is Stafford Global? Now, Stafford has been in the business basically since 1993, and we are a resource centre for distance learning education in the Middle East as well as in Africa. And we are now very proud to announce that we are also in Canada. We are currently the resource centre for 5 UK universities, one of which is University of Dundee. Now, we do offer a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelor's degrees, MBAs, MEds, right through until doctorates. So we really do have the qualifications that would suit your personal as well as your professional needs. Now, the mere fact that you're here with us this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants. And their function is to ensure that we get all the relevant application documents, make sure that you choose the right program for your needs, and make sure that we do get that very important unconditional offer for you. Now, I'm now going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's going to take you through the program, and I will join you towards the end of the presentation. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Helen. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Marie Beresford-Dey, and welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education Programme. So I'm going to go through, first of all, who we are at Dundee before I introduce the MEd programme, and then hone in on some of the details around the programme. Okay, so who are we at University of Dundee? We make a difference here and now in the real world through encouraging that cross-disciplinary exchange of ideas and thoughts and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and different perspectives. We work to foster a partnership approach between students and staff, and actively seek ways of working together across different disciplinary boundaries and geographical boundaries. We encourage and support students to be transformative within their lives and within their professions. We make time to listen to you, to support you. We recognise and respect the differences, actively promoting inclusion. We nurture that creativity and innovation within your own studies and professions. And as a modern university, we focus our efforts on 3 key themes, and that's improving social, cultural and physical well-being to develop innovative solutions to those 21st century problems. So why Dundee? As you can see from the listings there, we are frequently placed highly in the university rankings, which we're very proud of. We have a substantial global reputation with students from around 150 countries around the world. In addition, no matter where you are in the world, where you're studying from, we promote a real sense of community, and it's this that we feel that sets us apart. So at Dundee, we can offer you a learning experience with one of the world's top universities, and during the course of your studies, we will offer you excellent teaching, learning, support and resources. So what is the MEd? Well, it's a professional development programme undertaken at level 11 on the Scottish Qualifications Framework. So this is at master's level. So although the MEd is recognised by the General Teaching Council for Scotland, it's not a teaching qualification. As different national governments have different prerequisites for teaching, you are advised to check with the relevant governing or registering body. Please do that work before you apply. Okay, and just as an overview, we can offer you part-time and fast-track study, which offers some flexibility and autonomy, and there are times when you can change between the two. So this is a blended learning approach, and as I say, it's a practice-based professional development programme that's also recognised by the International Baccalaureate. And as I've already noted, we have students from all sectors across the world, worldwide, and that's from early years through to higher education. And we will offer a variety of different routes and foci throughout, and we treat all students equally. So although you're studying at a distance, you'll have access to all the student support as an on-campus student would have. So why study at master's level? Well, there are several benefits at undertaking a master's degree. First of all, it deepens and broadens your knowledge through asking questions, seeking answers, and exploring the landscape with different perspectives, which then change the world in which, the way in which you perceive the world. And through this, you'll develop a more inquiring, reflective, critical, and innovative approach to your practice. Second, then, through undertaking the MEd, you'll demonstrate your mastery of education, which of course can then be honed further to specialise in an educational area. It enables you to develop transferable skills such as criticality, communication, use of technology and organisational skills. And study at master's level enables you to improve your career prospects, which often leads to higher incomes, as this also includes professional progression into leadership and management roles. Also, you might wish to progress to doctoral study if you obtain the full MEd. And some countries consider teaching a master's level profession, so therefore obtaining an MEd enables you to meet the professional requirements of those countries. So as I say, it's a professional development programme, and it's a programme of study that brings together theory with your practice. It encourages you to draw on your experiences and align them with the literature. It enables you to question why we do certain things and whether there are alternative ways where practice can be enhanced. It encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global educational developments through offering an opportunity to critically explore different perspectives of education, all of which help to develop and extend your confidence and enhance your professional career. As tutors, we are continuously seeing our students' practice being influenced by their learning at master's level, and this inevitably benefits the students and staff who you're also working with. Okay, so let's have a look in a little bit more detail about the Master of Education programme. And to obtain an MEd, you'll need to complete 180 credits of study in any of the named awards. The award of learning and highlighted in bold is our generic award, which provides subject flexibility. However, if you require subject specialism, you see that we have a number of opportunities or options from leadership to childhood studies. We also have a new pathway in diesel, which we're excited to introduce to you all. Okay, the optional modules, each of the optional modules that we offer enable you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment, as long as you have relevant teaching experience to draw from. Each optional module is considered as a single credit module and is worth 30 credits. In addition, we also have 3 core modules, so reflecting upon practice, research methods, which are also worth 30 credits, and the dissertation module, which is a double credit module worth 60 credits. To demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see that the generic Leading, Learning and Teaching Award enables you to undertake any 2 optional modules along with having flexibility at dissertation stage, whereas the named awards not highlighted in bold do require you to undertake specific modules, and the dissertation will also require you to have that area of specialism involved in that. Okay, so for example, if you wish to obtain an MEd in educational leadership, then your optional module must be leadership and organisational development, with the free choice of the second optional module, but then your dissertation must also focus on educational leadership. Okay, we also offer awards for International Baccalaureate or eligibility for those awards. And for these, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you'll need to register directly with the IB. We'll provide guidelines for this process. We also have a dedicated member of staff who will provide the support for the IB. There are no additional assignments for each of the IB awards, but you'll be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications. And again, we provide you support for this. So you can see there that there are 3 different awards on offer. The first 2 of those are related to leadership, so the certificate in leadership practice. There are no prerequisites of IB experience required for this. And following that, we have the advanced certificate in leadership research, and 2 different pathways to obtain eligibility for that. The first of those don't require any IB experience, but similar to leadership practice, there are 2 modules that you must undertake to obtain eligibility for those. Or alternatively, there's a second pathway where the IB specify you must have 3 years teaching experience in an IB school. We also have the advanced certificate in learning and teaching research, and that also requires 3 years teaching experience in an IB school. Okay, so just to talk through a typical part-time route, including the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research. Within Year 1, we can see that we have 2 modules, the first of those being Reflection upon Practice, and the second module is your first optional module. And at that point, you could exit with a postgraduate certificate after you have obtained 60 credits. But you wouldn't obtain eligibility for the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research until you have completed the full MEd. So Year 2, you undertake your second optional module, plus the research methods, and then year 3 it is the dissertation, and at that point then you have the eligibility for the Teaching and Learning Award. Okay, so a typical route through, but this time with the IB leadership. And year 1, we had the leadership and organisational development and reflection upon leadership in the IB. So these are the 2 compulsory modules if you don't have any IB teaching experience or don't have that 3-year teaching experience. Upon successful completion of these 2 modules, then you are eligible for the IB leadership practice. You could exit at that point for a postgraduate certificate. However, we do hope that you continue your studies into year 2, where you would take your second optional module plus the research methods. And then finally in year 3, the dissertation, but within that you must also have leadership and an IB focus. And then that would provide you eligibility for the Advanced IB Leadership Award. Okay, the programme has options for fast track or part-time study. The key difference here is that you double up the amount of work carried out if you are going for that fast track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in 1 semester as opposed to the 30 credits for the part-time route. The fast track option is a significant undertaking, and I strongly advise that you consider whether you have space to complete approximately 30 hours of study per week for the fast track route. However, if you do decide upon this option but then feel it's overwhelming, we can transfer you onto the part-time route at the start of a semester. Equally, if you commence the part-time route, but perhaps your circumstances change so that you feel that you're able to double up your study, then again, we will be able to transfer you at certain points of your study onto the fast-track pathway. Okay, we do have optional workshops, and workshops are not mandatory, but they are highly recommended. They're a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors. It's a space for us to start building that sense of community. The induction workshop provides you with an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online learning platform and how to access various opportunities for support. It also enables you to develop an understanding of critical reading, thinking and writing, which is required for master's level learning throughout your studies. Feedback for these is always excellent, and students find them very worthwhile and beneficial to moving forward with their studies. So we do hope to see you at these workshops. So the entry requirements for all routes, you must have an undergraduate degree, and that can be within any discipline. If your undergraduate degree was not taught in English, then we do need you to have the English language requirement of an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent. So we either, for the workplace-based route, need you to be currently working within a relevant setting, or we have the non-workplace based route, but although you may not be currently working in an educational setting, we do require you to have enough experience, previous experience, for you to be able to reflect on in depth within that educational setting. So our students do speak highly of the programme, not just of the learning, but also the support that they have been given, but also just how it changes their practice as well and enhances that of their own practice and also those around them. Okay, application deadline is the 19th of March. That should be 2021. Please do contact the team at Stafford Global, because although March does seem quite a way away, it will be upon us before we know it. And of course, do speak to the team about tuition fees and payment. And on that note, I think we can welcome Helen back.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Marie. That was very, very informative. And I've been just looking through all the questions, and I'm starting to group them already. Okay, so we have our very first question from Huma, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Is this program specifically geared towards teaching practices for secondary or primary students?
The programme is quite generic in its delivery, that we cater for people who are working with children and young adults from birth through to 18 and plus, depending on their setting. What we do ask of students is to bring their educational phase with them, so you will tailor your learning towards that educational phase.
Okay, and Samal's question is, will I have a personal supervisor for the dissertation? And second part to that question is, how many words is the dissertation?
Okay, we jump straight to that end point. It's always good to have this idea and understanding. Yes, you will be given a supervisor, so that's what we call the person who's going to support you throughout your dissertation study. So that's carried out on a one-to-one basis. And the dissertation is 15,000 words. So while that may sound like quite a lot of words, it disappears very quickly, and you'll start to learn that that's quite a tight word count.
Okay, and Intokozo is all the way from Africa, and her question is, I have always been taught in a very traditional educational background, where we've had exams in most of our studies. Why are there no exams in this particular program?
For many master's level programs, there are no exams at this level. It is all written assignments, and similar can be said when you go on to your doctoral studies as well. At this level, you wouldn't necessarily expect to undertake exams. Whether that's a good thing depends on your own personal view. I know many people do appreciate the fact that there are no exams, but do bear in mind that writing an assignment can be challenging as well. Yes, it depends on your personal view whether you like that option or not.
Okay, and Marina's question is, I have completed a postgraduate certificate in education in 2000. Does the university accept exemptions?
Exemptions are for any study that have been carried out within the last 5 years and at the equivalent of level 11 on the Scottish qualifications framework. So whilst that qualification wouldn't be relevant for any credit exemption, for anybody else who may be questioning credit exemption around there, what we would suggest is that make sure that you are providing us with copies of your transcripts and any course overview, so we can match and be able to give you a clear response as to whether we can offer credit exemption or not.
Excellent, yes, and do get in touch with your personal academic consultant, and they'll be able to give you a bit more guidance on that. And Marie is quite correct, you do need to submit learning outcomes so that they can map the modules quite effectively. Okay. Right, and do I have to be in a teaching IB school to do an IB certification?
No, we have the two routes through the IB, as long as it's related to the Leadership IB Awards, where you don't need to be or need to have had teaching experience within an IB to be eligible for those. But there are specific modules that you must undertake to obtain that eligibility. And again, I would suggest that you go back to your personal academic consultant there at Stafford, and they will speak to you about those routes through.
You've mentioned that the workshops are virtual and not mandatory. However, how important are these to my studies? Will I fail if I do not actually participate?
There's no correlation between failure and passing and attendance at the workshop. What we do see is that lots of things are strengthened, so the understanding of the university systems, as well as that community of practice. But of course, as tutors, we work hard, if you can't attend these workshops, to be able to give you that information in other ways. So it may be that you're sent the recordings from any virtual sessions that we supply. If it is a face-to-face session moving forward, who knows what the world is going to look like moving forward, then we will upload the presentations and any of the teaching materials that have been used.
Good. And David's question is regarding specializations. Is there any way that more specializations will be added in the future? That's my first question. My second question is, can I change my mind halfway through my studies and change my specialization?
Okay, in terms of adding specializations in the future, we never say never, and we're always looking at these, the specializations, depending on, I suppose, what the student requirement and the trends and things like that are, where the important features are in terms of education. However, these things do take a long time to process. So at this immediate stage, then no, and we're not adding any more just now, but that's not to say there won't be in future. Helen, can you please remind me the second part of that question?
Okay, and the second part was, can I actually change my specialization halfway through if I decide to change my mind?
Okay, thank you. Yes, but it depends. So if you are going from a specialised subject area and then you want to transfer over to the generic leading learning teaching, then yes, we can move you over, and there are no barriers for that. In terms of going the other way, if you started off on say a generic leading learning and teaching and wanted to move to a specialised area, we would need to ensure that you have carried out the module for that named award. So that is the only difference between the two, but of course where we can accommodate, we will.
Okay, and I've managed to actually get a master's degree. However, I skipped the bachelor degree, okay. But will I be accepted onto the program with a master's degree?
Yes, so the minimum requirement is the bachelor's degree. So anything at that level or above, then yes, that's acceptable.
Okay, so yes, do get in touch with your consultant. We'll be able to advise you again as to what documentation would need to be submitted in order to get that properly assessed. I do understand that Stafford Global has informed me about graduations being virtual at the moment. How do I get my degree certificate if it's virtual?
These are sent out to you via the external post. What we always say to students is please make sure that any addresses of where you're residing are kept up to date, not just for the degree certificate, but throughout your entire MEd study, because that's where we find perhaps difficulties sometimes with certificates maybe disappearing slightly because the addresses haven't been kept up to date, and particularly students moving around the world, which is great to have these opportunities, but we do need to make sure that records are kept up to date as well.
Okay, I'm currently looking at joining the postgraduate certificate as this is what my school is requiring. If I decide to come back to the program, can I eventually do the masters? And at what stage can I enter back into the program?
Yes, we have quite a number of students who will exit for postgraduate certificate for similar reasons, and then do decide to come back and join us, which is great. You know, it's fantastic to see that, and you have up to 5 years to return to us and complete that study. So as long as you're returning within that 5 year, then we will your PG certificate would act as credit exemption for those 2 modules.
Okay, excellent. And you have mentioned that this is not a teaching qualification. However, is this program recognized around the world? For example, can I get a job somewhere in Africa or perhaps in Canada or UK?
Yes, you can get a job, whether that's a teaching job. You would have to again have check the requirements for those countries. It's certainly a global qualification. It's master's level, which is recognized around the world, and we certainly have students who have undertaken the MEd around the world and successfully completed that and are now employed and actually going into leadership positions as a result of that.
I do want to complete this program through the fast-track route as per my academic consultant at Stafford. However, if I decide that I cannot manage, can I change to the normal route?
Yeah, so there's certain times when we can do that. So it may be that as you, within the first couple of weeks, we can change that over. But usually it's once you get to the end of a module in preparation for the next module. So if you're fast tracking and you are finding it overwhelming, then yes, we can change at certain points in the program. Similarly, the other way around, there are certain points where we can move students from part-time route to fast-track route if their circumstances change.
Good, and I have been informed by my consultant that induction is important. Why is this so? And if I do miss it, is this recorded?
Induction is important, and not just to the programme but to the module as well, because it gives you that good understanding before you start your studies. So then once you start your studies, you can concentrate on the content of those studies rather than trying to work out how things work and maybe missing something. So it may be you might miss perhaps a teaching session, which then will perhaps put you back a week or 2. So it is important, but as we say, the tutors are there to support you. So for any reason that perhaps that's been delayed, or do let us know, do get in touch, and we will support you where we can.
Okay, will I be getting my IB certificate from the university directly, or do I need to contact IB after the program and pay them additional fees?
Yes, there are additional fees for the IB, but you will be supported in obtaining the registration with the IB. We have members of staff here who are dedicated to that and will support you through it. Now, the certificates do come directly from the IB and not the university.
Okay, good. And there is one last question. I have managed to group them all together. So one last question is, when do you expect to come back again to the UAE? It would be great to actually see the tutors face to face as well as other students.
We don't know. I mean, we are desperate to come and see you all as well. It's something that we enjoy, coming out to see our students face to face, and also the team at Stafford. So we are as keen to get out as you are, but until travel restrictions by various governments have been lifted and things have changed, then I can't respond to that, I'm afraid. Hopefully sooner rather than later, things are starting to look a little bit more positive.
Good. Okay. Fantastic. So I have managed to group all the questions together. Thank you very much, everyone, all the way from Africa, as I said, as well as KSA and the UAE. It was lovely having you with us this evening. Again, Marie, thank you so much. Very informative. It was lovely seeing you again. Very important that you get all those application documents into your academic consultants. It's a very, very popular program, and it does actually book up quite quickly. So as Marie said, I know it's only March that we have an application deadline, but it does actually fill up quite quickly. So please get in touch with your academic consultant. Let's get those documents into the university and get that very important unconditional offer for you. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and good evening to you, Marie.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Helen, and everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.